Prashant, go and send a video on WhatsApp to me.
Don't worry,
What's
like
happening?
I have some pointers for everybody to speak on, and this is not going to be completely blindsided by, like, I understand Nandit. Uh, market is pumping, everything is happening, but you, you're in Punjab, so that is
Right.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Uh, अच्छा भाई अपना कहाँ से कनेक्ट किया है देखा नंदित भाई तो काफी क्रेजी चल रहा है तुम
It's like the video sent you is like 100 meters from my place.
क्या बात कर रहे हो
Now we are live right now.
Yeah.
अभी live है
Is
अभी
it?
हम लोग. Yeah. So we which is what is 100 centimeter from your place?
100 not centimeter bro like no
100 meters.
I think
Like
it was
100
somebody
meter.
centimeter
just
100 meter.
clicked, yeah, somebody
yeah.
just clicked like a whole wave of drones and missiles going like just 100 meters away. So quite crazy time. But
Okay,
Damn.
that's really scary to listen
mm,
honestly, and if that is if that is
Now
just crazy man crazy. Yeah, hope you are safe. Hope we are gonna
yeah,
see
yeah, yeah,
lighthouse lighting up.
yeah.
light it up house. But I mean, let's take this stream to distract you from from that, and
Yeah,
I
from
hope you
whatever.
Yeah,
safety, man. Like nothing else. And
yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
like we we would we are with you, and we are like with everyone. We are just distracting ourselves with uh business
Doing
comprende.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, doing this.
yeah. So we solve only
But
get for the thing in London.
yeah, today our focus of discussion is why build on base. So we have two founders here, Prashant from
We
Spheron,
had three.
and
We had three. One dropped off at the last moment, and I just wrote that on the group that he's no longer going to be joining any spaces with us going forward with Spheron.
yeah, we
And
had three.
yeah, so we had to say him. Yeah, that guy just packed up at the last moment,
Yeah, that was
and
Rish,
that
by the
too,
way.
and
If
that too he doesn't live in the border like Anandit.
I
So
mean, we have to clap for Nandit for
yeah,
doing this in such
yeah, yeah.
such way.
Salute.
Like salute to Nandit. Uh,
Yeah,
this discussion is specifically on why build on base, and the reason this whole thing has picked up. You can see that there are many projects which are actually using base as one of their infrastructure, blockchain infrastructure, and like just today, Lighthouse announced that they would be utilizing base, and we I think Spheron also did like announce a month back,
build
more
on
than a
base.
month back. Yeah, that we are building on top of base. But the number one question which really arises to this is that, like, why base? Honestly, like in terms of I this conversation is mostly dependent on technical stack, yes, ecosystem, yes, the support you get through the ecosystem and developer ecosystem itself. So what do you guys think would be one of the biggest comparison in terms of, like, how you can see that there are multiple ecosystem like Arbitrum, like Optimism and Parachain, and everything has popped up pretty quick. But there are many builders who are building on top of base right now. So you can go respectively, and I would love to know your answers on this specifically, like why are we building on top of base? Anyone can go ahead. It's an open question right now.
It has to be. It's Nandit, right? Let's hear from Nandit.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think from our perspective, what we see is most of the users are either on Base or they are on Solana right now. From my personal experience, I see, um, for example, layer twos like Arbitrum are very specific to a lot of degens. And like with Coinbase support as well, I think Base is picking up a lot, and Coinbase, everyone knows it's like a big giant, which is again like a good and a bad thing. At the same time, some people say that there's centralization risk, but I think you have to go where the users are, and that's where folks are on base right now. And specifically, a lot of consumer stuff are getting built. Like if you see like the whole Farcaster and the Farcaster consumer ecosystem, like I've been playing with some games on the Farcade app, and I do see it regularly. Like some of the games are seeing 1 million, 2 million gaming plays like weekly or monthly. So that's where I think the users and consumers are. And then like me personally, I was using base quite often, so it was like a no-brainer that let's suppose base on a Lighthouse. And even couple of hours just when we deployed, we got like one user organically just buying storage from us, and hopefully more very soon. Like it felt like okay, that user was just waiting that okay, you guys are providing me Polygon or Filecoin or Stripe as an option, just give me base, and the user paid right away for our storage and data services. So I think that's where folks are building. And last but not the least, the reason being the base team and the rollups, as I see, like they have multiple stages of decentralization and some Ethereum alignment philosophies as well. And base is leading that. I think it recently became fully stage one or stage two. Don't fully quote me on that, but I think they're decentralizing a lot of their parts quickly as well.
Yeah, I
And
think from our perspective, I think we have been exploring multiple ecosystem, and the biggest option was like where we have a lot of this consumer, because if you look at the AI agentic space, right? So for as a compute network, we need a lot of these AI agent teams who are building into the space should be consuming that. So we had only a couple of options to kind of go into in the market where there are a lot of AI agents. And again, we do love Arbitrum ecosystem. We do love all the ecosystem out there. The reason we wanted to like also have like this like as our foundation to kind of like go ahead and speed it up, because there are a lot of these consumer application in AI agent ecosystem which are getting built. And since it is already there, it just makes quite seamless for a lot of these teams to go ahead and use it, because of the seamless integration of gasless transaction. For example, USDC comes with that. We don't have to like, so there is a whole concept of like waiving off the entire fee if you're using a USDC as a payment transaction and all of this stuff. So I think that's one of the things. And then they also have a couple of cool things on the deck side, like if you're planning for a TG and all of this stuff as well. So Aerodome, I think in the EVM ecosystem, Aerodome and Base Swap, and there are tons of these teams who are building amazing things on Base, which really helps founders to also like go ahead and do the TG quite seamlessly with a good amount of liquidity and community support there. And again, Base has been so far known for the projects who are quite legitimate into their side while they build. I think like usually when you and a lot of very very long term builders have been building on. Say they are not building on Arbitrum and other ecosystem. They are, and again, I love Arbitrum ecosystem. Like, honestly, the reason is because there are a lot of very good friends of ours in Arbitrum, and we support them. We were doing L3 on Arbitrum first, and then we moved from L3 to um, the base. So that's the take for me. Like moving on base.
but do you think there should be like any specific reason? And this is an open space right now, right? Like to be the flag bearer of a specific technology, let's say compute, storage, or ZK or anything in a specific ecosystem, or to do something similar in that ecosystem but on a different uh, customer base or different mindset of people you would be targeting into. Like if I say storage, there are so many people who are building storage in multiple ecosystem. So why would you go ahead and create something similar which already exists in that ecosystem and have, like, we call it like red ocean strategy, where there are multiple people in the space? And similarly for compute as well, like why would we go ahead and create something in compute where there are multiple players like already existing to do that? Or we go completely blue ocean with a newer ecosystem. And like this is something which comes as the reasoning of this question is that like because there are limited number of people who utilize these technologies, and separate set of silos and in terms of ecosystem. So why would you do that?
Nandit, do you want to go first or shall?
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, I think from our perspective, how Lighthouse works at the core, and we wrote a white paper and released it like 2 months back. We have like these like on-chain pool of funds, which governs the long-term storage of your data, and then interesting mechanisms around it in regard to data DAOs, where funds can also be lent to various DeFi protocols as well. So we were definitely looking for some chain outside Filecoin where we can get more liquidity with existing DeFi protocols and where the users are. And I think that was one of the reasons that, okay, we already have some presence on Polygon, but to your point towards like red ocean, blue ocean, I think it's all about network effects. If you see a lot of folks building on a particular ecosystem, you need to be there because they are naturally attracting the users. So you need not worry that when they are coming on your app, do they have funds to pay you? Likely they would have that funds. Like for me itself, like when I got like some of that DGen airdrop from Farcaster, I realized that okay, sometimes when I'm using like a new app, I'll just convert like a portion of that meme coin to some useful utility token, be it stable coins, be it like USDC in that case, and just pay for the service as well. So I think, and even just to highlight again, like the Farcaster thing, like at this point of time, I'm making the most transactions as an individual every day on Farcaster wallet. Uh, like, so I think it's quite natural that if a lot of teams, DeFi protocols, and potential users and developers are building on a chain, you have to be on that chain, especially if the chain doesn't stop. If the chain is not stopping every 2, 3 weeks, it's not going down, then also it's a good sign that the team is building and scaling it along the
Yeah,
way.
but I think some of the best teams have like at least in the EVM side, right? So chain doesn't stop a lot. Not those EVMs which have been just pinned out just for the namesake of the EVM. But yeah, I think that's where I also resonate with Nandit on the points that why why we wanted to be on a base. That's one thing which you have already said. And the and as we are kind of like we are gonna see like it's fairly straightforward. Wherever there is a seamless execution, so there's a lot of users who are coming in, and your own users who are coming in, you would want your product to be there. You cannot sell your product where there is no users. It's very simple. Like so, you cannot go to a marketplace where in that marketplace when there is no even demand. Right? It's a zero demand marketplace. So you have to find a place where there's a lot of demand or a lot of users at least coming in. So that so we in our theory we call it mandis, right? So you go and sell your stuff there, and because there are a lot of people already coming there, and you don't have to find those users again anywhere. So the first problem for the product basically gets solved by that, right? So you don't have to solve it. So initial users, initial PMF, initial all of those things, you can easily go ahead and find it out if you understand how to plug in. And that's where I think the Nandit, even now Nandit is moved to base. I think it would be very interesting to see how we can integrate Lighthouse on like with the Spheron as well, where people can just immediately not just release the compute, but they can also go ahead and lease out the storage without even leaving Spheron as a ecosystem, right? So now anyone can just go and integrate Nandit's storage, and they can start like come here, upload AI ML models or whatever they are kind of doing on Lighthouse directly, like without even switching off their payment rails. So I think that's one of the thing which really motivated us a lot. And the second is like I think there are a couple of interesting things which Coinbase team has been also doing. Is recently they have launched um, per API call payment methods, right? Where you can integrate, let's say now, so I think it's going to be interesting for Nandit also to look into is like where if somebody wants to upload something or do something, they just have to they pay over an API call, not as an escrow or not as a payment or something like that. I
Yeah.
think that's a very interesting concept, and we have been also building the same thing at Spheron, but since they have already built it, we require that for agent to agent payment models. But now, since they have already built it, we are just going to use it as it is. And the other thing, USDC. adoption, right? So it's getting adopted widely, and known for like KYC backed properly and everything. So I think more and more, I think in India also, which is going to be our next market where we are going to be looking into deeply into, USDC also is already doing a good dent and penetration, and the same thing is in MENA and UAE region as well. So I think that becomes the natural things to kind of do it. But I'm not saying that we should not be on another ecosystem. We should be, as a somebody like who is selling GPU CPUs, because we are agnostic. We should be agnostic. But initially, I think just to like bootstrap the demand, and if there is a heavy demand here, and if you're able to serve those demand here, why we should move anywhere else. So that's what my take.
Interop people
Yeah, that
raising
makes
their
sense. I think,
eyebrows right now. Like,
yeah. The X402 update by
Yeah.
Coinbase is really interesting, especially there are pictures that we need to kill API keys, which again we need to look very much deeply into because one of the posts I was reading the other day was that everyone has to now build for agents, not just users, because users will be interacting with these agents to get their job done. So our product, our SaaS, our BaaS or infrastructure as a service has to be compatible with those agents and MCP architecture. And for that, I think, um, like even in Dubai as well, I saw in Agent Stay, like most of the agent builders, they're using Base. They're building on Base. And then autonomously, they want to do crypto payments using stable coins as well. So I think those are again something in the line of why choose Base over some other chains out there.
but in terms of like just agents, do you think Base has the like biggest technical advantage over other chains in terms of scaling? Because agents, yes, need a lot of scale and TPS around it, but and like, do you really feel that Base is a go-to place for consumer applications or more technical AI and ML based driven applications? Like, what's your take on that? And you guys are doing something which comes as core of these levels. Like, let's say if I'm using a consumer based application, it sits, it can, it would use compute and storage. If I'm doing a very heavy compute heavy like zkml or somewhere, I would find that I'm trying to even uh, do SLNs or specifically compute heavy and storage heavy jobs, or something which has to do with a lot of inferencing, modeling, and stuff like that. So, do you feel that Base is the place for just for consumer applications, or do you say that okay, this has a segue of AI ML based applications as well, and just not the market narrative? I'm not speaking about from the perspective of okay, everybody's building on Base. Let's just jump on it and start building on top of it, but more on like a founder's technical vision of what is going to happen next.
I think for a founder, the one thing which they should focus, they all focus, is the demand. Like rest, everything will fall along. So if there is a demand, where as we have already mentioned, that is like it's a place where when you go, you see like there are already ecosystem thriving, there are people who are building, there are things. And the other thing is like we are EVM like we are designed EVM, so we don't have any other options like to go ahead and make anything in Rust and do that, which we are not going to do anyways, at least for certain amount of time, because our entire smart contract is our entire system is designed like that, right? So the entire from bidding contract to leasing to escrow, registration of fizz and everything. So for us, it on a technical level, again, it's not a problem to switch to any other EVM chain. It's quite easier to do it because again, it's a smart contract thing and all of this stuff. But again, as I'm saying, like so the reason we are here is because there are a lot of things which are quite smooth, like Coinbase account abstraction things, which already comes with that. We have USDC payment rail heavily like nicely built in, so you don't have to like do a lot of movements here and there. And then you have good traders who are also trading into the space. You have users, consumer apps which are getting built, AI agents, eco teams who are building here DeFi yield strategies and tons of other thing. I think, and that's where we should be like, because we are selling the GPUs, and we are selling the CPUs. Anyone wherever it is getting done. But again, as I said, on the core level, we are on base. I'm the deep inside, but on the very high level, we can be like any user from any other places around the chains can come and use it, because we don't want to differentiate that. And I want to just say it loud to everyone, like whoever is listening this out. At Spheron, our core belief is that CPU, GPUs, and everything should be chain agnostic, right? Because you don't want one chain to like have certain thing or certain thing not. It's like it's a water. It's something which you cannot, we should not. It's a right to for everyone, right? It doesn't matter if you're on base, or if you are on base, you're not going to use it because we are not on Arbitrum, or we are not on Monad, or we are not in any other ecosystem which are out there. It's not the case. Okay. Our main core thesis is that as a founders, we have to be at one place first. We cannot be at everywhere at once. So I think base being starting point, it could be a very good value addition for us, because it's again, it's demand, and wherever demand is there, we should be there, and then slowly from there onward, we expand to other chains and bring their user in. And as I believe into this theory that again, CPU, GPUs, and all of these things should never be a specific chain, or because it's everyone's right. If you want to build a decentralized systems, it's everyone's right to like access these compute capacities from anywhere across the chain.
And
And that's where chain agnostic folks are gonna like love it.
do you want to go the same path, Nandit, and say that storage should be chain agnostic, or do you have some other viewpoint on this?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, at the end of the day, if a user gets value from the product, they will reach wherever they want to be as well. For example, there was a time when the DGen chain launched their own L3 on base, and then there were like some fun games around DGen ENS names, like the DGen names as well. So I had to like bridge at that time from L1 to L2 to L3 to play that game. And I was like, fine, okay, like if I'm maybe the target audience, I can take the hassle because I just want to play that game and see how does that go. So like there's definitely one part of the spectrum where at the end of the day, if you have enough value, and if it's like totally different chain, users will come if you're like solving some real problem. But in this case, like where you have to choose between a lot of different EVM chains, I think with AI agents and builders building new applications, it's going to consolidate around like some big winners. That's like what I think, because at the end of the day, when you're interacting with these agents, they're going to be at the best place. And as founders, as Prashant mentioned, we have to be where the users are currently to at least make sure that the initial liftoff of the user is as easy as possible. And the truth is, right now, that is base for us. Even like with Arbitrum, like I'm not sure, like a lot of like DeFi projects are building there, but I haven't used like a single consumer app on Arbitrum. So maybe if you launch like a new deepin network on Arbitrum, maybe that works. Uh, if it's enough value, but otherwise it's gonna be hassle. So chain agnostic is something which like I'm bullish on the other spectrum as well. But I think even below chain agnotism, there's gonna be more consolidation towards one single chain. Like if you see with MCP servers popping up, I was seeing like some applications. For example, Vercel has got some really good user growth with like the MCP picking up because now every agent is connected to Vercel. People don't even need to worry about like should they go to any other second, third, fourth hosting option, and some of the cool stuff in Web 2 doing being done by Supabase, etc. So I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation where rather than 100 chains living, we're gonna see maybe five of them are like really alive, and like 95 of them still running on, just paying for the users to come. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think that's quite rightly put, Nandit. But there's one thing which I have kind of learned over the years, that value creation is a very object subjective thing. Is like, so for I'll just take that example when you kind of bridge your degen stuff from your L1 to L2 to L3. Not many, if just imagine if the same thing is available to a place where which is which is equivalent the same, but it's far easier to do it, so you would rather go into that direction, right? But it's the same thing also applicable to the GPUs and CPUs, right? Imagine if you have to do the same thing to access a GPU supply or CPU supply, right? What you or even storage in that case, uh, then it would be far better to go and use it AWS, GCP, and all of those stuff versus just doing all of these like dancing in L1s and L2s, right? So I think that's where we have to understand is like it totally depends what you're building. If you are very aggressively building for Web3 users, it makes sense to remain L3 or L2 or whatever, like wherever you want to, and you enforce your farmers to go and farm in those chains. But again, it's just going to be farmers, okay? So they will farm and they will go away, and that's where the consolidation will start happening. Where are they going to go away after those farming is end, right? And that's where you have to just look into those chains where they're going to riding back. And as rightly said by Nandit also, is like there are chains which are going to be like there are chains which will be more consumer focused. And again, wherever there are consumers, there are going to be a lot of things happening. It's a dot, right? There's nothing out of it. So there will be a lot of DeFi which will be happening. There will be a lot of AI agents which will be happening. There will be a lot of other things which will be happening. But again, it depends. Like for Arbitrum, they have a very different unique value proposition, and we have been seeing them. For Polygon, they have very different unique value proposition. For Base, they have a very different value proposition. So, but yeah, apart from them, I think next chains we need to look into is like how they consolidate. But on the EVM side, I think these are the ones
Prashant
I'm
didn't speak of
more.
Cardano.
God.
Surprisingly, like at Lighthouse, we do have good number of users from Cardano ecosystem. This is like very opposite from what crypto Twitter, which is like less of Cardano generally here, but like
But do
Cardano
you?
itself is now one of our users
So
at Lighthouse.
do you guys support the Cardano chain? Like, do they have a chain or something like that, or like how does it work? I don't even know that.
Yeah, like we don't have any native integration with Cardano right now, but yeah, Cardano and a lot of their ecosystem teams they use Lighthouse.
But
Uh,
in what sense they pay you? USDC
yeah, like yeah,
on
either
base?
USDC or Stripe. But what I mean is like people are launching NFT applications on Cardano. People are launching new applications
Yeah,
on
yeah. So
Cardano.
I
So
think that's not a problem. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter where we are going to be. We can be anywhere. It doesn't matter. We have to be a chain agnostic because we are selling. You're selling storage. I'm selling GPU and CPUs, right? So our user can be anywhere. It can be on Cardano. It can be on any other places out there. Even when we were doing the storage, we had our first client from Cardano ecosystem. Okay. So we have been
nice.
working with a couple of teams there. Even some of them we are also friends with for now. But they were also like they were they were also like it was a very complicated system. I did not understood like how it works.
Hmm.
But thing was like they needed a storage. We given them that point of time, and that's when we realized it. As a CPU and GPU networks, you don't have to be a very chain agnostic because then what we are going to do is you don't even know where the consolidation is going to happen today or tomorrow, right? Honestly speaking, you like we all like so as a founder, our job is to ensure that whenever somebody comes for a decentralized storage and decentralized compute, Spheron and Lighthouse is there for them an option as a way simplest way of onboarding possible. Doesn't matter if they're coming from any other chain out there in the world. So they could be anywhere in other chain and they
Yeah,
should be able to onboard with us.
I,
Because our competition is not with the chains. Like who is building on which chain. Our competition is to challenge the status quo of existing Web2 companies. So that's something we have to keep in mind.
yeah,
something I
makes
want to
sense.
bring, like because we are at a 30-minute inter like break, and I want to keep this short as well. But something which has bled my ears in this token, and everybody speaking about it, is Def AI, and everybody has a agent, and that agent is taking care of a yield, and that is happening on multiple chains, and that is happening around it. Now this was an interesting concept when it got started. Like, I remember like Prashant being very honest on the whole idea of the reason we started building Skynet. But now we have seen that there is an overutilization and over optimization of yield strategy on top of multiple chains, and everybody has picked up this wave. What do you think this looks for base ecosystem and other ecosystems as well? Because you see that there are other ecosystems which are very bullish on this, and they think that this is this Noah's Ark, which is going to save a dying ecosystem just because a lot of people are utilizing it through it. So, what's your viewpoint on that?
Nandit, you wanna go or
Yeah, Prashant, can you go first? Like, I think I got flown away
That
that's
with some
fine.
of the messages
I,
I'm
y-
here.
That,
Number
that's
one
fine.
priority
That's
for
fine.
you to is to
Uh,
stay safe. This is secondary.
yeah, yeah. You should run if you hear something out. Okay. Um, but but yeah. Coming back to your question is that I think I think it's not bad to have a DeFi agents and do the transaction and everything. There are a lot billions of dollars which have been borrowed and lent on our way, and it's a very huge opportunity for any companies like who wants to any startups or any ecosystem projects who are building DeFi stuff to generate more and more yield. Now the question comes in the picture that how much you trust these agents and how much you are gonna give them in multiple ways. So are you gonna give them in a complete ownership format, or you are gonna be giving them as a uh, assistant format? When I say assistant format, it's like it tells you every morning that this is the best yield which I found yesterday in the night while you were sleeping, and if do you want me to park this fund, and you just say yes, approve, and it just goes and park that fund. Or you want to give it to and full access of autonomy where you just give that agent a fund and it just does whatever it wants to do. Now both has its pros and cons, right? In the first one where you want to give the agent an access, it has a lot of cons actually, because pros are very less. Pros are is yes, it can just park, but you're not going to give it a millions of dollars of yours to do it, and it's not going to work. Okay, till the time we have these agents more robust, more secure, more all of the stuff, it's not going to happen. And I would never recommend anyone to do that as well, because even ChatGPT, AI, all of these companies, even they also know there is a security loopholes in their systems. Okay, so if anyone is claiming that their funds are safe with these like agents, it's not. It's never gonna be. Okay, so not never gonna be. It's gonna be, but not now. So that's one of the thing which I would. And again, I have a very high respect of the teams like who are building into the DeFi ecosystem, and they are doing amazing stuff. They are bringing a lot of new stuff in the thing. But again, it's my own personal opinion. Now coming back to the other part of that, what you have asked is like as an assistant, I look at that because today I don't have, and I tell it I I'm very much into the concept of the AI is not doing all of the work for me, but they are helping me to save the time, a lot of time every day, so that I can just focus on something which is more productive. For example, generating an yield is a painful task. Like you just go look into Aave, look into that. You will spend 15, 20 minutes daily, 30 minutes daily, even 1 hour daily. If you're spending 1 hour daily in just to manage your liquidity and everything, you will end up in like spending close to around 7 hours every week, right? Now, if you can just save 8, 7 hours, or let's say 6 hours for me, I'll be more than happy to go ahead and use some product and pay for it. Because and if until unless if I'm not generating, if I'm generating $2 out of this entire movement of money of managing systems, it's it's not an yield. Okay, so but if I'm making enough, and if I'm able to, let's say, generate enough, and I can do that, then I'll be more than happy to use an assistant which basically tells me that, hey, I found a new strategy. Here you are getting 4% yield, here you are getting 8% yield, but the safety metrics is quite great. Like on the risk parameter, it looks good. I did all the research. I have found this here and everything. It just gave me flooded me with the right information of data outside my inbox, right? And then I can just take an action. I can say, okay, go ahead and park my fund here. Makes sense. But now, if you tell me, bro, you just give your fund to this guy and he will do it, no, I'm not gonna do that, because I don't know if he's gonna put at the right. Because then just imagine how easy to game AI ecosystems. Okay, gaming an AI today is not that hard. You can literally fake your entire presence on the internet today, from today and in the next 1 month, 2 months. And believe me, your if you give a fund to an AI agent, it will think that this particular agent, like this particular DeFi protocol, is working quite great, even though it might be a scam. Okay, so there are a lot of ways you can game it. There is a lot of ways you can game the entire DeFi agents, until unless if they are not parking their money in the right protocols out there. So I think
Yeah,
that's where I would look into. But again, I'll pause here. Uh, I would love to hear Tandit's.
yeah, yeah. I haven't looked very deeper into the dev AI ecosystem per se, but from what you said, like if somebody is saying you that okay, park your park your funds here, and I'm gonna using some power of AI or magic give you good returns. I think one should just run away from that. Like that's a story told to us from last 100 years, and that's like a very snake oil pitch. That's what I feel, honestly. But given said that, I would say that there seems to be like a good idea space here of experimentation. And while you were mentioning like what's the risk rate while you are using some of these agents to generate more yield, I think there's a good idea space on okay, can one build like an insurance agent around it? Can one build uh, like some risk or like kind of a switch, like turn off switch, those kind of things. So haven't looked like very deeper into it, but I would be very wary of somebody offering just park your money here and you'll get the return. I think that's a very old snake
Risky.
oil story.
That's that's like the moment you hear that, just run away, even though it is AI. And by the way, yesterday I was I don't know, like, if you guys have seen this prompt, and I got this prompt from Yishu from Transact. He sent me that, um, just do this on your chat GPT. If you are chat GPT user, what you will come to know that they know a lot of things. Now just imagine if you
Yeah.
put your money there, okay, what will happen? The thing will happen is, like, they will take your money and they will run away, or anyone can just go ahead and do whatever they wish to with your money. And I'm just going to be dropping it here, so that everyone can just take a look into. But yeah, I'll pause here. I'll just find that message.
I think this is something
Here we
which
go.
Yeah.
I feel like this is over optimization of, but we never know. We never know what's going down because we are on the compute side and storage side. So for us to not judge, like, we don't want to judge books by their covers, but honestly we can just give our interpretation of what looks like uh, valuable to us versus what is truly there, like in terms of, like, just not sentiment. But honestly, Prashant and Nandit, thank you so much for taking the time out and being here and telling us the reason of building on top of base. Now, this you have, like, you can give a one liner to any founder who's watching this. Uh, and you can also tell the world about what you are doing with your own protocol project, and would love the world to know about that.
Yeah,
Nandit.
I can go first. Yeah, I think overall at Lighthouse, right now we have like more than 1,000 paying users who are like actively uploading data across our AI, DeepMind, and NFT ecosystem. So one of the things that I learned very late is maybe build like a community of strong users who like really want your product and are interested to pay for your product as well. And then I would also recommend folks very early in their journey run a PMF survey. Like we ran a PMF survey. You can find it on pmfsurvey.com, used by some top teams like Slack, etc. We ran it. The golden number is 40%. Uh, to my surprise, we were able to cross it, and which is a good thing. So, if you're not able to cross it, just keep on iterating and keep on running that PMF survey among your early users and adopters. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what Nandi has just told is like the first way of finding the PMF is like the moment you start charging people and they start paying for it. If they're paying for it, essentially there are people who really need that your services. So what you have to now understand is the second thing is how you're going to distribute that, and you're going to drill it down and find it out like how big that market is going to look like. Because what happens sometimes is like you might be having only 100 users in the world who might be paying for you, and not the 101, right? So what you have to understand is that like those 100 users, if they are 100 user, it's fine. I'm not saying like they're bad. Then you have to price your product in a way that then it has to be a very high value product. Like say those 100 users should be paying you $1 million like subscription yearly, right? Then it makes a lot of sense. But if those 100 users are paying you $2, $20, it doesn't make sense. So I think understanding that part is quite important. Um, and again, if you build whatever you want to build, just 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 always remember one thing: market is quite big. For example, at Spheron, while our vision was is like I'll just touch base on that also. Our vision has always been we pivoted multiple times, right? We were doing storage, website, and then compute, and the only reason to pivot was very simple. It was we were looking or look out for the users. Like every pivot has given us the users. Example, in the storage we were like sitting at around 18,000 users, but very few of them were paying, right? And it might be our focus, and we did not had the confidence to kind of like just move forward with that. It's the same with the hosting. Like we uploaded more than millions of files on IPFS, right? All of those stuff. So I think understanding that very early, it was quite important. And when we started building compute, like from day one, you have to just pay for the compute. Even today in Spheron, you just log into, you are not given a free credits to go and use it. It's just paid, right? You can't use anything free in the compute side. So it has really given us an opportunity to kind of scale. The second thing is that since we are building the world's largest community power data center, our focus has always been is to like how we can generate more value for community, right? And it has also clear vision, uh, distinction also. So whenever I did my this practice, okay, on my side, and any one of you should also, and Nandit, you should also try it if you guys have not. Very simple. You just put what you do, okay, and then you put on the bottom side what do you want to achieve, and then start writing something in between, okay. And it has if the moment you start writing in something in between to achieve that, if it is too much of a like this line, like sine wave, drop that plan, okay. It's not going to work.
That's a very interesting
it's
thought.
it's 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 never going to work. So you will end up in chaos. But if it is a straight line, it's perfect thing which you should build. Even it is a little bit horizontal trickle line on the bottom side while you are reaching your output, it's perfectly fine. But if it is again, it is sine wave again, don't build it. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
so 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 and that's I've learned like in my 5 years of building experience that you should drop that plan immediately.
Yeah, I think that point around market is something which a lot of folks in Web3 have to learn, and something that we are also learning now, essentially, that it's not just about the users and just the payments, which is like the first part. The second is how do you grow the pie, or if the pie is also there or not. So that is something
Yeah.
really, really valuable that you said.
Yeah. So it's very simple. Just draw two things. I want to build a multi-billion-dollar thing. This is what it's going to look like. Start putting it down, and it just works. And that's when I found that compute has that, and we just jumped into that, and we had everything to kind of like move with it. Yeah, I'll pause here. Or else
But this
it
was
will
this
be too
was
much.
pretty good on honestly, like in terms of even founders watching it, because like you see there are a lot of streams out there and which are just like very abstract and objective into just telling like, okay, we are doing this and the reason we are using that. But this is actually very useful things which you guys have pointed out. And I think this content would serve for many people who are thinking that why should you build on base. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining in, honestly. And I hope that Nandit, you are safe and sound. And our wishes to everybody who's in India right now. And Team Spheron is always supporting people who are from India. And thank you so much for joining this, Prashant, as well. And thank you so much for the stream. Have a good one,
All
guys,
right.
and
Thank you.
see you in the next stream. And
Yeah,
Rishabh, NGMI, you didn't make it to this.
Yeah,
yeah. And Rishabh is not gonna make it.
Cancelled forever.
that's
Rishabh is
crazy.
not gonna make it. Yeah, he's finger
Go build
crossed.
on
Yeah.
No,
Cardano.
So
nobody could
he's
make
not
an
gonna be on
excuse.
stage. Yeah,
Nobody can make excuse
yeah,
if I can come here.
If, yeah, I was
yeah, bro.
thinking the
Like
same
that's
thing.
what.
Nandit is over there. Oh
Yeah,
shit. Oh,
And that too
shit.
that too without a background. Like he's just using
Yeah.
that phone light, I guess,
Yeah.
yeah,
to kind of just put into it.
yeah.
Insane.
I just
So
sent you
amazing,
a
man.
video, like
Thank.
100 meters. There's like rockets
Yeah,
coming
I
up.
saw that.
Oh
Um,
sure.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's insane.
yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
I'm smiling, but we should not smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stand
Like
with the Indian
it's
Army
quite
for
quite.
sure. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
See you. Bye bye.
Have a good one,
All right,
guys.
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.